It grossed $626.1 million worldwide at the box office. It was the 7th highest grossing film of 2011, and it was also an explosive turning point for the iconic franchise. I'm talking about Fast and Furious 5. The mobile game, not the movie. No. Yeah, the mobile game. Yeah. Roll it. Developed and published by Gameloft, Fast 5 The Movie official game, yes, that's the full title, released on April 20th, 2011, on Android, iOS, and Java. Now there are different versions of this game out there, the 2D game for Java, and the 3D game that we're interested in for Apple and Android devices. The game received surprisingly good reviews. This very well may be the last Fast and Furious titled game that was remotely decent. Since the game was made by Gameloft, it behaves almost identically to an Asphalt game from around that time, but with some different cars, tracks, and a comic-style story mode. It feels different enough from the Asphalt games before it and after it, which in this case would be Asphalt 6 and Asphalt 7. Now, I'm not sure when exactly this game was delisted, but based off of gameplay from YouTube, I'd have to guess sometime in around 2012 or 13 when the next film, Fast and Furious 6, would have dropped. So here we go. Let's begin the hunt. So I decided to try and find the more difficult to locate version of the game first, the iOS version of the game. Now when it comes to Apple devices, you only need one file to install an app, an EP8 file. But not many websites have EP8 files just laying around available for download, and even fewer of those websites even work. And after checking a couple of the usual suspects, and even a few obscure ones, well, I had nothing. I had absolutely nothing. No matter how close I seemed to be, the download link was always just out of reach. And after that unsuccessful search, I decided to try and hunt down the Android version of the game instead. Now, unlike Apple devices, Android devices require two file types to install an app: an APK file and an OBB file. And the OBB file, of course, containing all the data for the game, while the APK manages to bundle it all up into a playable app. Now, unfortunately for me, I was having another bad case of deja vu. After some more serious digging, I was finding the APK file, but not the OBB file. It wasn't until a while later that I found out Gameloft does things a little bit differently on Android. Instead of just using the OBB file format, instead, Gameloft uses a very different format where they store all the game's data in a specific folder called Gameloft. Apparently a lot of Android mobile games made by Gameloft at this time were designed to boot up and look for this file location instead of the OBB file location, which meant I wasn't even looking for the right thing. So, the hunt was back on, and luckily for me, I decided to check out YouTube to see if anyone had any ideas, because I was out of websites to check out. And to my surprise, I found exactly what I was looking for: an installation video that uploaded very recently. And in the description was the link I had been looking for this whole time. After all the time spent digging up the correct files, I was going to enjoy these victory laps. But this story doesn't stop there. I decided to give the iOS version one last look just to see if I could come up with anything. And to my amazement, I found a working version on the Internet Archive website. And after playing a few races, I have to say Fast 5 is a very interesting game. Because on one hand, Gameloft was clearly in development of Asphalt 7, because the gameplay is a weird cross between Asphalt 6 and the to-be-released that next year, Asphalt 7. But the music, story, and explosive action are undeniably fast and furious. But now that all the correct files are dug up, it's time I send it over to the installation tutorial section, so you all can download and play this game yourself. Alright, and now onto the tutorial section of the video. We're going to kick it off with the iOS version of the game. Kind of an interesting story, I suppose. I originally downloaded this IPA file from the Internet Archive website, and I went back over there to do this video and find the link. I can't find it. I'm sure it's still there, but I can't seem to locate it at all. So I ended up moving the IPA file that I did download over to Google Drive, and a link to that download will be in the description down below. It's going to take you to this right here. It's pretty simple. You just hit the download button, hit download, and it should start down here in the bottom left corner. Simple as that. Once you have it, you want to try and get it onto your device. We're going to be using an iPad 4th Gen over here. Right off the top of my head, your Apple device needs to be 32-bit, and you need to be running iOS 10 or lower. That's your safe guaranteed bet. Anything newer than that, if you're running iOS 11 or up, and if you're running something 64-bit, I cannot promise that it will work. So you got your file. Now you need this program up here in the top right corner of the screen. That is Sideloadly. I'll have a card somewhere at the top of the screen. Yeah, that'll give you a tutorial on just how to where it's downloaded, how to set it up, all that stuff. Because you do need a legitimate Apple account when you're setting this up. So unless you want to actually use your Apple account, or you want to make up one, use an email address that you just made up, and then just make a dummy account that will it's just there for the purpose of sideloading apps. That's up to you. But you have to have a legitimate account, and you've got to have obviously your device plugged into the computer, which is how it's going to move the app over. Oh, and the internet. You want to make sure that both this computer and the device you're moving the app onto, make sure they've both got internet connection, connected to Wi-Fi, all that fun stuff. So you got your internet, you got your programs all set up, and you got your device plugged in, and you're ready to go. So up here on Sideload, you got a big old IPA file logo. You want to click on that. Give it a moment. And now we need to go find that file that you just downloaded. Okay, there it is. So once you find it, you can double click it. That'll move it into Sideload, and then you just basically hit the start button, and it will start to sideload it onto your device. The one thing about sideloading is that the one big downside to sideloading an app with Apple devices, and doesn't matter really what program, but this one and every other one I assume, is you only get 7 days to use the app. When Sideloadly moves it onto your device, it basically gives you a free pass to use this app for 7 days, and once you do, the app will no longer work, and you'll have to sideload it onto your device again. What that does, unfortunately, is it makes it pretty much impossible to save your progress. Every app I've tried this with, it doesn't save your progress, because most of these games are completely offline. They've completely been shut down, and you can't connect to the internet to save your progress. And since I guess you'd say you re-sideload the app, it just completely resets it back to factory form, and it's gone. So that's the one big downside. If you're a completionist and you're trying to 100% complete the game, you only have 7 days to do it. But if you just want to play the game again and experience it, then that's not a huge stipulation. And once a week to re-sideload it isn't terrible, but that's just something you should know when you sideload an app. You only get 7 days to use it, and then you'd have to repeat this sideloading process. You won't have to download the file again, but you will need to re-sideload the app. Okay, and it's done about, I don't know, 4 or 5 minutes later. Kind of a big app to sideload. I'm surprised it works, but as you can see, it's right there. But before we just go tap on it and play, we've got to do one more thing. We got to go to our settings. Should already be on general. Go all the way to the bottom, device management, developer app, and then you just want to trust this app. If you don't, it won't open up the game. So you do that, you trust it, and it's done. And then back over here, and now we'll give it a try. No. That's fine. Well, it doesn't matter. That's such an old Universal logo. It's crazy. Okay, there we go. And we are off to the races. Again, it's that simple. Just got to follow the steps. If you have any questions, comments, or issues, if you're having an issue of some kind, let me know in the comments section. I'll do what I can to help. So yeah, that's how you get Fast 5, the movie, official game, playing on iOS again. Next, of course, we've got to get the Android version up and running, but that one's going to be a little bit different because for some reason it doesn't work on the emulators. This whole series I've been showing you how to install these games on an Android emulator, but it doesn't work on the emulators. But it does work on my phone, so I'm going to show you how to do it directly on an Android device instead of on the computer. So we're going to cut this out and we're going to switch on over to my phone. Okay, so we've changed looks. My phone, you'll see my phone screen over here on the right side of the screen. Basically, you want to go to this YouTube video here. I'll have a link to it down in the description down below. You'll go into the description, and right here it says a link. I'll click that. And things do get a little bit confusing because it has a bunch of dummy clicks where you click it and it actually takes you to an ad, and you have to go back and then click that same button again, but I'm going to show you how to get through it here. So, it takes you to this page. You want to go down. Let's see, there, right. Okay, there you see it right there, it just appeared. You have to wait about 10 seconds for it to come up. So let's hit it. Let's see, I think it's going to take me to it. No, wow, it actually didn't. Usually that would take you to the wrong place, but it actually didn't that time. Bunch of ads. Once again, you see a waiting time. Again, it's probably about 10 seconds. So it's a little ways down, a couple ads down, but before the third ad there. Hit that. That's a dummy click. Go back. And now we are over here. So we're going to click the Start Download. X. And there you go. You want to, if you wanted to go to your downloads or your SD card, you pick that, download it. It is a zip file. Obviously, I'm not going to because I already have it, but the next thing you'll need is some kind of file manager. I know these phones come with a file manager of some kind, but I use ZAchiever. It's arguably the best file managing app on Android. Okay, so once you're here, you want to go to where you had that file downloaded to, which in my case would be SD card and download. And here is the zip file. We're going to open it up here just real quick to see what's inside. You will see one folder, which is the game loft folder. That's your data, all the cars, the cutscenes, the sound effects, all that stuff. And then right below it is the APK file, which is what will install the app. So what we're going to do is we're going to tap it, hit extract, then we're going to go to device memory, and then we're going to paste it. Okay, this could take a little bit of time. Alright, so once the file is done extracting, you'll see the game loft and your data files right there, and your APK file will be at the very bottom of the page. With that, hit install, and it's going to ask for a couple of permissions. Thankfully, I've had this app for several days and I've not had any issues at all, so install anyway. The last version of this game I downloaded, it was very clearly loaded with stuff. This one only has files and media and phone. The last one I had I got so many spam calls and texts and stuff. It was really bad. Thankfully, this one does not have the same issues. Thankfully, this one is actually halfway decent. It's not trying to constantly spam you with stuff. Let's see. I will say, I don't know if it's because I'm running a fairly new device or what it is, but the loading times on this are atrocious. They're pretty bad. It's still going right now, but then the wheel just stops spinning. Yeah. Again, pretty atrocious load times. It could just be my device. It could be because this is supposed to run on something much, much older. But for some reason, it won't work on an emulator. I've tried Nox, BlueStacks, a whole bunch of different methods and apps versions. It just won't load on the emulators. But it does work on the actual phone. So I don't know. There you go. That is how you download Fast 5, the movie official game, on Android and iOS. And on the next segment, I'll give you some final thoughts and some gameplay. While Fast 5, the mobile game, isn't the best or worst Fast and Furious titled game I've ever played, by a long shot, it is hard for the game to shake itself from the fact that, at its core, it's simply just a modified asphalt game. And while the story mode is unique, it's also hard for me, for some reason, to get past the voice actors for this comic-style story mode. I don't know why it bugs me so much. Like seriously, just listen.
Get a load of these scumbags. This is the best race you could set us up with? I thought your boy Vince was hooked up. Better than nothing. I'm starting to hate Rio. Look, just keep your hand on the wheel and your head in the race, O'Connor. We need this money. Fine, let's do this.
It's not even close. That doesn't sound at all like Brian O'Connor. Come on. Anyway, in closing, if you're a big fan of Fast and Furious, and you love the Asphalt series, this game is definitely worth giving a try. You just might be entertained. Anyway, that'll do it for this week's episode. I'll leave you all with some gameplay. If you're enjoying this series, be sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe. It really helps this channel out a lot. And if this is the first episode of Delisted you're seeing, there's several more already uploaded and available right here on this channel. But if you've seen all those episodes and you're ready for some more, stick around till after the gameplay to get a sneak peek of the next episode. So until next time, keep on gaming, everybody. on the next episode of Delisted. Well, on today's semi-final episode of Delisted, Season 1, I'm going to talk about the side of the story you don't normally see. The side of the story where lost media remains lost. So, for example, if Superman has his kryptonite, I have 2K drive.